Solving equations, multiplication addition. Today, your learning goal is I can solve algebra equations that involve multiplication. And so if you tuned into my last two lessons, we learned how to do addition and subtraction style problems. Today we'll focus on multiplication. Questions that look like this: 3x equals 9. Now, I'm not going to walk you through an example of an addition or subtraction style problem, but what I do want to point out is that up until now, we've only ever had one mystery bag or one variable on the left side of the equation. And so today, the questions are going to look like this. And the key difference here is that today's questions have more than one variable on the left side. In this case, we have two mystery bags. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what this question would look like if we were to write it out in using algebra. It looks like this: 2x equals 8. On the left side, we have two variables, or two mystery bags, two groups of them. And on the right side, we have just our standard 8 little squares here, each one of those representing 1. So if I can just remind you at this point that the whole goal of algebra is to get x all by itself. We want it to be the only thing on the left side of the scale here so that we can weigh it to the right side of the scale and see what that equals. So logically, I think probably some of you are jumping ahead of me here in thought, and you're just saying, okay, well, let's just remove one of the bags. Let's remove half of the items from the left side, and let's remove half of the items from the right side. So I'm just going to show you this visually. I'm going to we're going to make algebra great here again, and we're going to build a wall. We're going to build a wall to separate the left from the right bag, and we're going to build a wall to separate my left 4 squares from my right 4 squares. The thing about this, when you do this, is that if you're dividing up a side here, you have to create equal groups on the left and on the right. And same thing over here, I have to have equal groups. You'll notice I have 4 squares here to the left of my red line and 4 squares here to the right of my red line. So now that I've divided that mentally in my brain, I just want to kind of walk you through the steps here. We're going to start by actually dividing the left side by 2. And that's going to look like this. Mathematically, well, let's start with the bags. We had 2. We're going to cut that amount in half. So 1 disappears, we're left with 1. Mathematically, what that looks like is that we're just writing a division symbol. And remember, writing a little fraction line like this is one of the ways we can show division in algebra. So we're going to write a little line under my 2x, and we're going to show that we're cutting that in half, or dividing it by 2. But you'll notice when I do that, when I take off half of the weight on this side, my balance tips and it's no longer in balance. So then to fix that, we also have to divide the other side by 2. Which means we're going to remove 4 of our squares. So then I show here that I've divided my right side by 2 as well, or removed half of the squares. And what I'm left with then on the balance is exactly what we're aiming for in algebra. It's to get x all by itself, and for that number to be completely in balance with what's on the right side of the scale here. So I can very simply say the answer to this question is x equals 4. So that is an example using our balance beam here, or our balance, to show that we're maintaining equality as long as whatever we do to one side of the equation, dividing it by 2, we do to the other side. We divide that by 2 as well. So let's just have a look at one more example here now. At this time, we will get rid of our balance, and I'm just going to walk you through it using our steps. And so we have 3 mystery bags over here, and we want to figure out how much one of them equals. So we could do that by dividing this side by 3. And if we have 3 bags to start with and we split them into 3 groups, that means that each group is only going to have 1 bag left in it. But then we got to do the same thing over on this side. If we have 9 little squares or whatever we're dividing up here, and we want to divide them equally between those 3 bags, we would show that by saying 9 divided by 3. And what that's going to do is on the left side of the equation, then we are going to have 1 bag left in that group, and that bag is going to have 3 squares attached to it to put it into balance? And that, my friends, is the answer to this question. As always, we will see you on the next slide, and you can practice a few of these